The description of religion in Japan is quite complex, but I'll begin with Shinto. Shinto means the way of the gods and is the native religion in Japan, stretching back thousands of years. It actually has mythological origins going back to the goddess of the sun, Amaterasu, who's believed to be the legendary ancestor of the current imperial family. And so the current emperor, Emperor Akihito, is said to be the 125th direct descendant of Amaterasu. Basically, Shinto venerates the spirits, also known as kami, of almost any natural object, ranging from mountains, rivers, water, rocks, and trees, for example. And it is practiced inside a Shinto shrine, as opposed to a temple for Buddhism. In general, it has a very positive and uplifting view on life of life on Earth, and so people are basically regarded as good. There are no written scriptures like the Bible or the Quran, though there are ceremonial prayers chanted by Shinto priests. Nor are there any specific symbols or icons, such as a crucifix for Christianity. But most Shinto shrines house three sacred objects, and one is a mirror, which is the symbol of the sun goddess. Another is a sword and a jewel. Now, these three objects actually make up the imperial regalia, and they're found on the altar where the gods are believed to reside, and the objects sort of serve as a spirit substitute for the gods. It's a religion of rituals and ceremonies, predominantly for purification, but it also is for the peaceful emergence of life and growth. As you can see on this slide here, there is a torii. Now, this is a Shinto gate, and usually found at the entrance to a shrine. People walk under this gate as they enter from one world into the more spiritual world of the shrine. As you can see in this one from Meiji Jingu in Tokyo, offerings are also made at Shinto shrines, and these are, of course, natural products. Small shrines can commonly be seen inside the grounds of factories, on farms, and near harbours. For example, before the construction of a new house begins, a ritual purifies the land. And also, at the start of a new season of sport, a team may go to a shrine to receive a ritual to cleanse themselves of bad luck, just as a new factory manager may go to the shrine to cleanse himself and prepare him for the new role. Although Buddhism is a very old religion, it wasn't actually introduced to Japan until around 400 AD. However, it had existed for at least 1,000 years before that. It wasn't officially brought over to Japan until the middle of the next century, in the middle 530, 550 AD, when, via Korea, the Emperor of Japan was presented with a brilliant image of the Buddha, along with some scripture scrolls and ornaments, etc. Now, this sparked debate about whether such a foreign cult should be accepted in Japan to coexist with the existing religion of Shinto. But eventually it did take hold. Now, Buddhism is different to Shinto, and one very distinct difference is that in Buddhism, they pray towards many different gods, whereas Shinto, there is no specific god they pray towards. Buddhism also takes place in a temple rather than a shrine for Shinto. Here we have two important daibutsu, which are large Buddhas in Japan. The one on the right is located in Nara in the Todaiji temple, and the one on the left is in Kamakura, two very important places with the introduction of Buddhism to Japan. However, this place here holds more significance. This is in Horyuji, just near Nara, which is where the introduction of Buddhism took place. Now, it's important to note that the imperial line was not solely faithful to the ideologies of Shinto. Famously, Prince Shotoku in the late 6th century and Emperor Shomu in the mid-8th century were pivotal in the introduction and growth of Buddhism in Japan. And so what evolved was a blending of the two religions into one coexistence of two religions. Now, in Buddhism, the teachings promised that if people lived a good, considerate, and unselfish life, they could escape being born over and over again with all the pain, suffering, and illness associated with human life. Now, there are, of course, many different sects in Buddhism, and Zen Buddhism has had the most influence on the Japanese culture. Zen fits in with Shinto with its appreciation of nature and also the absence of statues in their temples. Now, it was favored with the samurai class because it had a strict emphasis on self-discipline and meditation. The unique and complex thing about Japanese religions, which I hesitate to call them religions, is that they're really a way of life. An example would be when a child is born, it is common for the parents to take the child to a Shinto shrine and have a purification ritual, giving thanks for the child being born and hoping that it will be safe in the future. Likewise, when the child reaches the age of 3, 5, or 7, 3 and 7 for girls and 5 for boys, again, the children are taken to a Shinto shrine, and appreciation for reaching this age, and also hoping that no evil spirits come towards it in the future. So praying for good luck and health. A traditional Japanese wedding is a Shinto wedding, and again, it is about the purification of this new bond together, and hoping that no evil spirits come towards this marriage in the future. In between this, I forgot to add that when a person reaches the age of 20, which is the Seijin Shiki, they also go to a Shinto shrine and give thanks and also hope for a happy, safe and healthy future as well. However, when a person passes away, it changes religion to Buddhism. Okay, so the funeral is usually taking place in a temple, and the ritual is a Buddhist ritual. So as you can see, it's really a way of life, and it's a blending of Shinto and also Buddhism. It's also seen inside a person's home. It is common to see kamidana, which is for Shinto, and also the Butsudan for Buddhism, inside a person's home. So as you can see, the two religions blend together into their way of life. There were, of course, other religions in Japan that had an impact on Japanese history. Two of them were Taoism and Confucianism, brought over from China in the 6th and 9th centuries. Now, Taoism had an effect on the calendar and also fortune-telling in Japan, whereas Confucianism had an impact on, obviously, the politics and also the creation of a hierarchical system in Japan, particularly during the warrior class periods. Now, Christianity was brought over with Europeans around the 1543 to 1549 period. Now, it is said that the Portuguese brought three things over with them when they came to the shores of Zipangu, and they were interesting food, for example, tempura and castella, and also they brought over guns, which had an enormous impact, and also Christianity. However, it was a very turbulent coexistence over the following centuries. Now, one person had an enormous impact on the emergence of Christianity in Japan, and that was Oda Nobunaga.